I spent over £2,000 buying the 3 cheapest compact electric trolleys currently available on the market in 2025 to find out which one is the best. So we've got the Powakaddy CT6, the MGI Zip X1 and the Motocaddy M1. Now I've tested all 3 out on the course and I'm going to break down my comparison into 4 categories: key features and design, folding and storage, battery systems, and on-course use. These are all the base models that I've bought here, so they don't have any of the downhill control optional extras, and they all have a standard 18-hole battery. Now with all that out of the way, let's start with the key details. So first of all, the Motocaddy M1 retails for $779.99 here in the UK, although I did manage to pick mine up for $729.99, and it comes with a free scorecard accessory. You've got the Powakaddy CT6, which retails for $799.99, but again, I managed to buy mine a little bit cheaper at $749.99. But the one here in the middle, the MGI X1, this has a retail price of $799.99, although I've never really seen it on sale at that price, so I managed to get this one for $599.99. And you might be thinking, just because this is a significantly cheaper unit, at least it retails for significantly cheaper most of the time, does that mean that you are losing out on some of the specs and the tech? Well, in some cases, yes, but in other areas, no. This trolley actually puts these 2 more expensive ones to shame. For $599, I actually got a free carry bag with this as well. And in the box, you actually get an umbrella holder, which neither of these 2 come with in the box. You also get a little carry pouch. You get some axle grease, because you need to grease up the axles. That doesn't come with either of these 2. And you also get a little integrated phone holder. So this flap comes up here, and then you slide the phone holder into the top, and then you can keep your phone or your handheld GPS right there. That all comes as standard in the box. Well, the carry bag didn't come as standard, that was a deal, but the rest of the stuff does. To be honest, there's not much that separates the Motocaddy and the Powakaddy. They both come with clear LCD displays that show the speed of the trolley as well as the battery life that's remaining. And the Powakaddy also shows you the time and shows you the total distance that the trolley has ever done, as well as the distance of your round. Not that I really care about that information, to be honest. Both these trolleys also have the distance control feature, so you can hold down the button on the middle and then select it to go a set distance, and then the trolley will stop once it reaches that distance. That's actually a really nice feature to have. I'm quite surprised how much I used that out on the course when I realised that I didn't have it on the MGI. Now you can spend a little bit more money and get the X3, and that then has that feature baked in, but with the X1, you've not got the distance control. With the Powakaddy and the Motocaddy, they also both have their proprietary bag holding systems. So if you've got a Motocaddy or a Powakaddy bag, then you can clip your bag straight into the bottom, either with a magnet or specific clips on the Motocaddy version, and then you don't have to worry about securing it with the straps on the bottom. If you don't have one of those bags, it's not a problem. All 3 of these come with straps in exactly the same place. Now the MG feels perhaps a little bit more basic when you look at it, because it has got a more basic screen. It doesn't have all the nice colours and display. It just has a really basic display telling you the speed setting that you've got it on, and then you've got 2 LEDs on there as well, really small ones. So you've got one green LED telling you that the battery is on, and then when you actually use the unit, then another LED comes on to tell you that it's in use, and that LED will change from green to amber to red depending upon the battery life. There's no fancy magnetic clips at the bottom or anything like that. There's no distance control. However, the MG does have a really key feature that the other 2 don't have, and that is this rear stabilizing wheel at the back. So if I tip this trolley up here, you can see there's a clip which you release here, I think. There it is. And that little wheel folds out there. And now that means that this trolley is giving you some extra stability, which is going to hopefully stop it from tipping backwards if you're not paying too much attention when you are on a slope. Now with the Motocaddy, you can buy an additional wheel. I think it costs £30, and it just slides in and clips at the rear. So you just remember to have to unclip it each time you want to fold down your trolley. So it's really cool that it's actually included in the price and integrated in the trolley with the MGI. You can see between the 3, the MGI sits the tallest. Now I'm 6 foot, so for me, that's my preference. This is on the medium setting on the Powakaddy, and you need to use an Allen key to actually change the height on it. And even if you adjust it to the high setting, it's still the lowest of all three, and the Motocaddy sits in the middle. Now, the only other real kind of difference between the three is the look and the style. So I would say that the Motocaddy and the Powakaddy kind of have a little bit more of a toned down look. You've got a lot of nice blacks and greys and metals, whereas you can see on the MG, well, you've got some kind of like dulled metals there, but you've got a lot of this glossy plastic on the front. You've got this gloss plastic on the base, and then you've got these bright yellow wheels as well. That one really is personal preference. Honestly, I prefer the look of the Motocaddy and the Powakaddy, but when this is around 100, maybe even 200 pounds cheaper, well, I can probably forgive it for the garish colours on display. So moving on to folding and storage, all three of these fold down nice and small and compact, and if you want them to actually reduce that space, you can even take the wheels off and flip them around, and so it reduces the width, and you can do that with all three. Of the three, I would say that the Powakaddy folds down the smallest and has got the simplest folding system because it's basically one clip. So you can see here you've got this grey kind of handle button there. You push that and it folds down. Actually, I said it's got one clip. I lied, it's got two, because then you clip the front wheel there and there's a little clip at the front, but that fits underneath, and there you go, that is folded down and it's stored. So this top bit does fold down as well to bring that in, but the one thing you haven't got really is a great handle on the Powakaddy. You've got a little notch there, which you can get your hand in and pick it up and carry it, but it's not the best of handles. You certainly can't get into it that way. You have to come that way and use just a couple of your fingers. Now, one thing I'm not the biggest fan of with the Powakaddy is how close the grips are to the floor when it's folded down and sitting upright. And it has to sit upright, really. It can't really be stored that way, because you're going to scrape the front of the trolley if you store it front way, and you're going to scrape the top of the trolley if you lay it down flat. So you have to kind of store it upright, and the handles are really close, if not touching the ground. On a previous Powakaddy that I had, I definitely scuffed the front of the handles a bit. The Motocaddy is pretty simple and easy to fold down as well. So you've got a clip on the handle here, which folds down the front one, and then you've got a lever at the bottom, so you lift that, and that allows the front wheel to tuck in, that bit to bend round, you lock it in place, and you lock it in place, and then that is nicely stored. With the Motocaddy, you can store it flat if you want, or you can pull out this little lever here, and then that acts as a stand, which means that you're not bringing those handles as close to the ground as the Powakaddy. Another little feature as well is that you can then use this as the handle. It's not the biggest, but I can definitely get more fingers in that handle section on the Motocaddy compared to the Powakaddy. Now, the MGI is probably the fiddliest of the lot. There's just a couple more clips. So like the Motocaddy, you've got a clip here on the top handle, which will fold it down. And then on this one here, you've got a little clip that pulls up towards you, and that will release this base section. And that will fold in similar to the Motocaddy there. Now then you have to fold in the rear wheel, so there's a little clip at the bottom on the rear wheel. There it is there, and that will allow it to just fold in and lock into place. And then lastly, you have to press another clip. So this clip has to be open. You've got another clip, and then that will lock, he says, there we go, onto the front of the frame. Then you clip that on, and then it's all locked into place. If you don't lock the bag holder over the front, which is what I was doing when I initially got the trolley, when you pick it up, it just unfolds. So you have to make sure you lock the bag holder over. Come on, there's the clip. And then lock that in, and then you can pick it up without it unfolding. Now with the MGI, there isn't really, not that I can see, a great carry handle, really. So I just kind of pick it up by the top of the frame. It's not a problem, but it's nice to have a specific handle. Now, if you're the type of golfer that wants to find the biggest and best deals online, then make sure you sign up to my free monthly Golf Deals newsletter, where I send the best deals that I find each month straight to your inbox. I'll include the link to sign up down in the description below. Now, let's talk about the battery and the charging systems. So all three of these have very easy to remove batteries. However, with the Powakaddy, this is the only one where you have to remove the battery in order to charge it. You can't charge the battery on the actual unit itself. With the X1, with the MGI, and with the Motocaddy, you can just lift up the flaps. So the port opens at the back here, and on this one, the port is open on the side there. So if you've got a shed or a garage, you can just wheel your trolley straight in and charge it with the battery kept in it. The reason why that I find is actually a really nice feature that I like to have if I can, is because on more than one occasion when I've used a Powakaddy or other electric trolleys that I've tested before as well, I've charged the battery in the house and then left the battery in the house, meaning that I turn up to the golf course with a very expensive and quite heavy push trolley. Now, the Motocaddy and the X1 have a couple of unique features as well when it comes to the battery. So with the Motocaddy, what you might have noticed there is actually the battery pops up when you fold down the trolley. So if I just fold it down here, and there it is, it's pushed up. So that means that the trolley makes sure that it turns itself off and completely disconnects. So you're not wasting any battery. Maybe if you're going to play 9 holes today, then 9 holes tomorrow, you don't have to worry that you accidentally left the trolley on and you're going to lose power. That's a cool little feature to have. Now with the MGI, the battery is nice and easy to remove once you've lifted that flap there, so that's not a problem. But the unique aspect with this one is actually with the charger itself. So something that I've not really seen before is that the charger not only has a USB-C kind of spurred off from it, so if you want to charge a device or your phone while using the charger as well for this, you can do. But more importantly, it actually has a really handy little display telling you the percentage left in the battery. So that's a really kind of interesting one, because when I actually finished using this after 18 holes and I put it on charge, it actually had around, I think it was 46, 47% left. So it had a fair amount of battery still left to use. The one downside of the battery with the MGI, I'd say, is that because it just clips on the back here like this, it's nice and easy to clip on, but it's very exposed. So I've already started to kind of scuff the sides and the back of it a little bit, whereas the Powakaddy and the Motocaddy are much more in the bodies of the trolley. All three of these trolleys also have the ability to charge via USB, so you can charge your phone or your GPS device from the trolley. These two right here, the Motocaddy and the MGI, have USB-A ports. The Powakaddy has USB-C. From my testing out on the course, all these were absolutely fine for 18 holes. They had plenty of battery life left in them, but you're probably not going to be able to push it to 36 holes. And I believe actually in the Motocaddy manual, it says that you shouldn't do that even if it can. So let's talk about on-course use. All three are really nice and easy to use out on the course. They're all perfectly maneuverable. They don't feel too prone to tipping over or anything like that. However, I would say that of the three, actually the Powakaddy perhaps feels the nicest to use, has the lowest centre of gravity of all three. The grips feel nice and ergonomic, and the dial to control the speed is my favourite of the three. It's nice and chunky, it's a good button press to kind of get it on its way, and I didn't find myself ever accidentally pressing the wrong speed and whatnot. I found it really easy to control. One other nice thing with the Powakaddy out on the course is the fact that you've got these 3 little T-slots and a towel clip on there as well. They're not a game changer, but they're nice to have on there. The Motocaddy has a very premium look to it, although I did notice that the grips were the grippiest, or should I say the tackiest, right out of the box. Now that seems to have kind of worn off a bit now that I've used it, but initially they did feel very, very grippy on that first round. Wasn't the most comfortable to use. What I would say as well with the Motocaddy is that while the dial and the display are very easy to use and to understand, it's very simple, the dial is quite sensitive, probably the most sensitive of all three, and I did sometimes find myself accidentally putting the trolley far too fast or far too slow. So something to bear in mind, not a huge problem, but is a little bit sensitive. So moving on to the MG, and I would say that again, the handles are actually got a decent amount of width to them and they feel nice and comfortable to hold, but it does look and feel the most plasticky. The dial, again, is nice and easy to use. It's simple and it's not too sensitive, but it has got a plastic feel. And there's clearly 2 buttons here that are used on other models, but just not this one. They've just got some plastic caps over them instead. So the finishing, I would say, of the 3 is the lowest quality. But because the X1 has that integrated anti-tip wheel, I do feel the most confident using this trolley that it's not going to tip over when going up hills, certainly if I'm not paying attention or anything like that. I didn't have any huge problems with either of these trolleys tipping over, but it can happen with any electric trolley, and the anti-tips wheels just help to give them that extra bit of stability. So I've got to say, in terms of using them out on the course, I would rate stability over looks and feel of the dial. So after testing all three of these trolleys, I was impressed with all three, and I'd be happy to have any of them. They've all got slight little quirks and design tweaks between the three, but none of them are bad trolleys. But there's got to be one winner, and for me, I would be the quickest to recommend the MGI Zip X1 for the most golfers. Yes, it's got the most basic screen, and yes, maybe it has a look and design that won't necessarily be for everyone. However, that integrated stability wheel is a really key feature, and I think it ranks as one of the most important to have of these three trolleys. Now, if you're not too bothered about having that integrated wheel, or maybe you're happy to spend the extra £30 and add it to the M1, then between the Powakaddy and the Motocaddy, well, there's not a huge amount in terms of differences there. If you prefer the look of one or the other, then I'd say go with that one. If you want the most compact trolley of the range, then it's going to be the CT6. However, if you want the ability to be able to charge the trolley with the battery still left in it, then it's going to be the Motocaddy. But hopefully this video has helped you decide which one is right for you. I've included links to my full individual reviews of these trolleys also down in the description, so if you want to get a closer look at any of those, then you can check them out in those videos. And if you're now thinking, well, maybe having the most compact trolley isn't the most important thing for me, but you're still on a budget, then you're definitely going to want to check out this video right here, where I compared 3 of the cheapest electric trolleys that you can currently buy. Tap the like and subscribe button if you found this video helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one.